And we are live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I know we missed last weekend, but last weekend was Easter weekend, so we didn't do that. I'm just checking channels before I introduce the man on my left. It should be on the left on the screen. Give me 2 seconds. Oh, yes, it looks like everything is working. Good. And Shabir's first. I've got to always say Shabir is first. He's first in the comments, always it. Good evening, everybody, and we are working. Audio is working and video is working. And welcome Mr. Wiener himself, Mr. Gerhard Heyneke. How are you, sir?
I am great, thank you, and nervous as all hell because I don't like going live. And yeah, that's pretty much me.
No, you don't need to be nervous, but I'll use Vaseline, I promise you, but I'm just checking something here because it looks like something is not working, but everybody is there. I'm just checking here that it's actually appearing where it's supposed to be appearing. Are you guys picking this up on Facebook? Yes, you are. So it has to be on Facebook somewhere. I don't know why it's not appearing on my Facebook, but anyway. Okay, so it's obviously on Facebook. Can everybody hear us? Can you see us? Can you hear? Oh, I put that in the wrong place. Just give me 2 seconds. I put the Vipasa logo in the wrong place, and that's not going to work well because that is where the comments are for the other people. So that's not going to be lacquer. And I just moved. So, Mr. Heyneke, how are you? You fit and strong. You ready to carry on?
Fit and strong and ready to take it on, man.
No, that's good. As I said, I'm gonna be gentle with you tonight because I know that you are nervous. Although Damien did give me a whole list of things that I need to ask you. Some of them I won't because they are private things, but there's another probably 20 questions that I need to ask you that he said I have to ask you on the channel. And he did say that he would send me a free Hexome if I did ask you that. So I hope you don't mind. Do you mind?
Well, he must. I don't mind because his bachelor's is coming up. So
no, I'm only joking. I'm just causing cuck, so don't worry about it. He didn't send me anything, but I did see the panic in your face. Well, okay, Shabir's always first. Hello, bro. You haven't come to say hello to me since you've left, which is not nice. Yanni, I see Damon's there already. Lillian, Yolandi, Wesley, Sean, Shiraz, Mr. Kurt Yeo is in the house, and Delare Stein.
Good.
Yeah. Guys, so you can see, while I saw Kurt there, you can see Vaping Saved My Life. Kurt will throw up his links to do the questionnaire. Please, if you haven't done it, I'll get this out of the way now before we do the rest of the show. Please go and do your part to help the vaping situation in South Africa. We are under a little bit of stress at the moment, so please, go and fill out that link if you don't mind. It only takes 2 minutes. And also, if you can see the banner scrolling at the top, there are 10 arbiters up for grabs at a 25% discount on the Survey website. Only 10 of them, so you better hurry if you want one. And there's 25% off. Just use the code that you can read up top there. So, how are you doing, and how's the weather in Cape Town? Lekker.
Well, I'm not in Cape Town.
Where are you now?
I'm in Richards Bay. Yeah, I'm in Richards Bay at the moment. Yeah.
Oh, so you jet setting, are you?
Jet setting a bit, yeah. Spending some time in Richards Bay. Regretting it. It's pretty hot here already.
I know.
Today
That's what I was going to
a
say. Today, dude, walk outside and you lose 5 kgs just walking outside. It's friggin' hot here today. In Richards Bay, it's even worse in Richards Bay because Durban was puss hot today. It was really hot.
Richards Bay is normally a couple of degrees hotter than Durban, so lovely fishing this time.
Are you checking on the shop there, or are you just chilling?
No, yeah, we've got a couple of things we're changing. We've got some new staff that's being trained and stuff like that. So I'm here for a bit and then hopefully back to Cape Town pretty soon.
Okay, cool. Cool, cool,
Yeah.
100%. I'll, Shabir says something is different about Gerhard, something missing around the chin area. Yeah, that's. I think that's got to be a stipulation when it comes to the OGs in the industry, because obviously Gerhard and I go back a really long way.
Yeah.
The first time I ever met Gerhard was at News Cafe. Was it News Cafe?
Yes.
News Cafe,
News Cafe.
in Belita, I think it was.
Yes.
Was the first time I ever met Gerhard. And that's fucking long time ago.
2013, 2014.
No, I think it was actually, yeah, it could have been
Could be.
2013. That was a
I think it was
really,
about 2013.
Yeah, that was
because it was
a-
before I was even a vendor.
yeah, that was a long time ago. So he's a real OG
Yeah.
in the industry. So I think all OGs have to have beards of some sort. So I think you need to grow back your beard, or attempt to grow it back.
Once we don't have to wear masks anymore, then I'll grow my beard back. It's the mask thing.
I don't have a problem
Really
with the
buggering.
beard, yeah. It's the moustache that irritates the living bejeebers out of me with wearing a mask. That's what irritates me.
Yeah.
This is not too much of a problem, but they're irritating. I see Kurt's posting it up there. Okay, so just tonight, obviously, we had to talk about Wiener's new juices coming up. One's an old juice coming back that's been redone, but we've got a new one. And Gerhard has put up some juices for a competition. I'm just going to throw that picture up on the screen, which will just, you can read it yourself. I'm not going to read it there. This picture will be on the Wiener Vape Company's Facebook page, not on my page, not on the survey page, on the Wiener Vape Company's page. So you need to look for that page, like it, and then do the rest as per the rules. I will throw this picture up every now and again, just so that those people joining at a later stage can go have a look. But that is the competition for this evening. Okay, so time to ask you some questions, sir. Besides, we know that you've owned Fogger's Vape Shop and you've got the vape shop in Richards Bay. You obviously also, you make one of my favorite all-time juices, okay? And everybody knows that I love it. But you are also an old school mixer, okay? And obviously we are talking about one new juice, one coming, and then one which is a little bit of a change up. If you want to divulge what they are, you're more than welcome to divulge what they are, because you've got a lot of people guessing, I have to say. Because you look at it and you actually can't, the one you can make out roughly what it is off the label, but the other one, I think a lot of people are guessing, and I think most, because you had me stumped, I didn't know, I wouldn't have known what that was. So I'm going to ask you, how did you actually get into mixing? How did it all come about?
Well, that's the easy question, I think. When I started vaping, I wasn't really exposed to DIY yet, and DIY wasn't really a thing yet. But what we did have is obviously we had the Twist B liquids, and we had the Liqua stuff, and if you ordered from e-ciggies, if you ordered from Walter, you could get some Hang Seng liquids, those big plastic bottles with a yellow cap. And I almost want to say my first mixing started with those juices and mixing them together to get to something that worked for me. Because I was a very picky vapor, and I really struggled getting it because I was also a heavy smoker. So I really needed something that would work for me and would make me happy all day long. So I ended up mixing the cherry with the tobacco or the vanilla with this. I think most mixers can relate that's probably, especially the older guys can relate, is like that's how they kind of started. Like the OG mixing was mixing Liqua and Twist juices together to get something that worked for you. Obviously then discovering a little bit more, I think back then the only place you could really buy DIY stuff was from Benji from Vapor Mountain. He was the only guy really selling flavorings. that I knew of before some of the other guys came up. So I started buying some flavoring there and started playing, and it wasn't, it was kind of just trying to find something that worked for me. And if I'm thinking of the favorite juice, for instance, that you're talking about, which I'm assuming might be Good Boy.
Oh yeah, sorry I didn't mention Good Boy.
Yeah. So Good Boy, I mixed Good Boy for myself way before. When me and you first met at that Isigza meeting, I was already mixing Good Boy, or a version of Good Boy back then. And it's always been about getting something that works for me and that can work for me on a consistent basis. So because I wanted to quit smoking, I obviously did. But even now I approach my mixing the same now years later. Is when I mix a juice, I try and mix something that I won't get sick of vaping on all day. So, it's something that's got to carry me through a whole day of vaping at the very least, minimum, without
Okay, so
me just...
you're not like me when you don't leave home like that. Do you leave home with one device?
Well, I don't,
Yeah,
but ultimately in my mind, I try to. I try to.
Yeah, no, because I get super bored of a flavor. Vaping, I could never vape the same flavor the entire day. I could never do that. That's why I always have so many devices with me, because they've all got different flavors. But yeah, I think it was exactly the same with me when I started mixing. And then you bring up the Hang Seng. Mine was Desert Ship and the mint from Hang Seng. That's what I started on. And it was like 2 mils of this and the 20 mil of that, and that's the way. You know what I mean? And obviously it progresses. Now you get access to the concentrates, and if I can ask you a question, which is actually not on here. Let's just take Good Boy for an example. How many versions do you think you made of Good Boy before you were happy as a person to release it to the public?
You are breaking up a bit my side. My internet might be a bit unstable. Okay. I think I heard your question though. Version-wise with Good Boy, for instance, I can quite honestly say without lying, is I mixed a version of Good Boy every weekend. Every weekend on my mixing day, I would tweak Good Boy. And I did that for around about 18 months. And just about, I would say every weekend, I would work on a new version, because it would have to steep through the week until the next weekend before I could taste it. And then when I tasted it, then I've already made adaptations to the recipe. So it was kind of a weird process where I would make versions and then make a new version while tasting an old version. So I got to a space where I was literally making 0.1 increment changes to the recipe on a weekend. Sure. And then waiting for it to steep and seeing how it turns out.
Okay, so that's like close to 70 different versions before you.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my worst juice ever was Milky Way, and that was 62 versions before I was happy to release that to the public, because I just couldn't. I could not get rid of that fucking lemon taste. That which is most synonymous with most Fruit Loopsy dessert. It was just too predominantly lemon. It was finally after like 62 fucking trials, I got it to a point where I said, okay, fine, that's happy to now go. Obviously, over the years, you now know your concentrates that much better, so you know that if you're going to use Flavor Art cappuccino, that you mustn't use more than 0.2%, because it's going to fucking just obliterate a juice. Those type of things, which only comes with experience. but it's getting to that point that you can be comfortable enough to know that it might be 7-10 versions before you get to a place. But back in those days, it was hectic trial and error. And also, obviously, which has happened over the years, which I don't know if you found as well, is the progression of the devices has also changed the manner in which you're mixing the juices. Is because now you've got such a wide variety of wattage range that people vape on, not like when we were back there where, back in those days, wow, you had a 40-watt device. My God, shit, you're the king. Now...
Do you remember when the Hannah mods came out, 10 watts?
Yeah.
10 watt Hannah mods came out, and everyone was like, holy shit, what you going to do with 10 watts? You're going to blow your face off with 10 watts.
Yeah. No, it's scary. But like now you've got from people vaping at 15 watts all the way up to vaping, if you take the new mod that's just been released, the Hammer of God, 400 watts. And so it makes a massive impact on people that are mixing juices. Just a message here from, I hope I pronounce this name, Shadley Fortain. Thank you for getting me off smoking. Good boy and Tavero, Wiener vape for life.
Thanks, Shadley. I'll see you.
Okay, I think I got that right. Okay.
Yeah.
Rob's moaning that you cut your beard off. Kurt
Sorry,
says,
Rob.
Yeah, and Kurt says that is why we need to support our local juice makers. The amount of R&D is insane, and it is. It's for old school mixers and for the new generations is a little bit easier because you have access to DIY or DAR. You have access to thousands, tens of thousands of recipes online where you can make a iteration of it so that you're not cloning it per se and make it your own. Back in those days, it was,
to mix it and taste it. That's the only way to know.
Taste. And if it had to steep for fucking 3 weeks, tough cookies, you got to wait for 3 weeks. Let that steep. So yeah. Another quick question to you. What's one thing that you wish you had known when you first began mixing juice? So something that you know now that you wish you had known back then.
That's a difficult question. I think as a commercial juice mixer, I wish that I knew that when you bulk, the chemical reaction changes. And I wish I knew that earlier, because I've learned my lesson a very hard way, and you know about this because you've had the similar thing happen to you, and we've spoken about it.
Yeah.
But when you bulk a juice, for those who don't know, if you mix 100 ml of juice, it doesn't necessarily translate to mixing a 25 or a 50 liter batch. Because when you mix a 50 liter or 25 liter of something that you mixed in 100 liter, the chemical reaction is different because of the volume of the molecules in there. So sometimes, not all the time, and it's very rare that it does happen, but sometimes certain flavorings just don't play well together, and they can come out extremely different or extremely harsh, and you will only know this once you've had a bunch of customers mail you or phone you to let you know that.
But it tasted so good when it was like, what? Yeah, dude. Been there, seen it, got burnt. And we were lucky. It's only happened to me once, thank goodness. And we caught it before it went out, and that was just purely because of the processes that we've put in place in the lab. Take it and pour it down the drain, dude. because you can't do anything with it. Nothing you
Can't
can
do
with
anything
it.
with it.
You couldn't do anything with it. Yeah, it's cuck.
But that's how you learn.
Yep, that is true. That is how you learn. Yeah, and that's a big thing about Kurt mentioned there about R&D and stuff like that. We always advocate for people to try and take up DIY because it actually is cheaper. It is way cheaper.
Yeah.
The unfortunate problem with it is that along with that comes a whole lot of things like what we're talking about here. And the unfortunate problem is that most people who either smoke or vape have addictive personalities, first of all, and also they are impatient people, which comes along with that. And they don't allow things to... I'm like that. I'll fucking go make a juice and I want to vape it now. You know what I mean? But you've got to learn, and that's the difference between what Gerhard and I do compared to the DIYs. We've learned to let it sit. That was like, which has been reworked slightly, our reserve, our tobacco reserve, is I made this batch of juice, tobacco, and 100 mils, and I left it and lacquer, bolted up to a litre, lacquer. Said, good for production. Made 50 litres of the stuff for production. Took a sample bottle out. Something not right, yeah. So I just left it. I thought maybe it made, but thank goodness it was just a steeping issue. But we then figured out that it had to just sit there, and we had to leave it for 3 months. It had to sit there for 3 months to stabilize and everything to work itself through before it actually got to what it was like in a litre, which is and that's just something that you learn over time. No more questions there. Okay, well, this pretty much actually really answered this already. No, wait, you can maybe answer this as well. What is your biggest failure and what did you learn from it?
Oh, there's many.
Arbitrary one.
Biggest failure? Yeah, that was a pretty big one. I've launched the juice that didn't do well. I wouldn't call it a failure. It has its following. My biggest failure. I think my biggest failure is raw products. We've had batches of raw product come in that didn't make the cuts from reputable vendors. I think Benji had a similar issue as well, and I think it might stem from the same time. But eventually we had a big deal with subpar PG at one stage, and where there was literally I think I got 3 drums of PG in, 250 kg drums of PG in, and we only noticed after we had mixed a batch of juice that something just wasn't right. The juice was looking milky, and something was off. And it turned out that for some reason there was a layer of what I can only describe. It's not what it was, but what I can only describe as a layer about an inch thick of like baby oil.
Ish.
Inside the drum, and it was either contamination from the drum or there was some issue with the PG, but we only picked up on that after we had mixed a pretty decent batch of juice, and because we pipe it into the lab, it's not like in a jug and we could see that there's an issue. We pipe it into the lab, so you only notice once it's in there.
Yeah.
And that ended up we had to clean all our pumps and our pipes, and the lab was a mess for almost a week, just
trying to
decontaminating and cleaning everything from that one drum of bad PG.
Sure. Now,
That was a pretty big fail out.
yeah, we had a similar issue with vegetable glycerine, where they had
Yeah.
wrongly labeled the VG, and they sent us not food, not USP grade. They sent us some fucking other horrible shit. And the only way that we picked it up was when we opened it, the smell. Instantly smelt that this wasn't right. And then when we poured some out as a tester, I noticed that it had this really bad green tinge to it. And serial numbers matched up, everything like that. And we traced it back. And just on that, this is one of the things that we might as well touch on, because I think we were talking about it prior to it. You'll see now that I've got the Vaping Product Association's logo in the top right-hand corner of the show, and obviously we're big on advocacy, and obviously for the Vaping Saved My Life, and about safety protocols and mixing in the right environments, and using the correct processes, as well as traceability, as well as accountability, which is probably for me the biggest one along the whole thing, because at the end of the day, what we do has an impact on thousands of people, because you are using it on a daily basis, a liquid which is inhaled into your lungs. And although it's better not to vape, it's better not to smoke, okay, it's still obviously scientifically proven to be safer than smoking. And I'd rather vape than smoke at the end of the day. But myself and Gerhard were having a little bit of a chat earlier on about, buying juices from reputable companies, and, being associated, being juice brands associated with the Vapor Product Association, and standing behind, and I've got to use my words very diplomatically here, because some people
I'll use my words. Support brands and stores that support the VPA, because right now the only thing that's standing between us and being banned as an industry, and that means you as a consumer having access to vaping equipment and e-liquids, is the VPA. So I'll say it bluntly, is support the brands and support the shops that support the VPA. It's as simple as that. Ask your local shop, ask your juice maker, are they a member of the VPA or not? Just ask them.
Yeah.
Because it's important, because all this can disappear. Remember last year when we were banned, how we struggled to get juices, how we as an industry almost died because we couldn't trade for 5 months? Think back to that, and then think of that and see that that could be the reality forever. Never mind regulation. Some of the regulation that they want to put in place can lead to that, regardless of the fact that they still allow vaping. It'll be so difficult for you as a smoker to become a vapor that it will never be an option for you. So it is important, and it is important for all of us. It's important for industry players to be involved, and it's important for consumers to go to their vendors and go, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing to protect my rights as a consumer in your industry?
I think you nailed it. You nailed it perfectly on the head there. And it goes. I was sent an email. I'm not going to mention the person's name. It was sent to a reputable vape store who is a Vipassana member, from a consumer, basically blasting the guy, the vendor. Why are you asking me to do something when it's your responsibility to do this on my behalf? And he didn't quite actually understand that it's not only our responsibility as vendors and juice makers, it's actually the consumers. It's more so the consumers' responsibility to help. We'll facilitate it, and we can only do, there's, let's say, 300, 400 vape shops in South Africa, and let's call it the same amount of juice makers in South Africa. That's 800 people. at last count, and I'm sure Kurt will put the figure in the comments here, there's 400 odd thousand people or 500 odd thousand people who use an electronic cigarette. 500,000, 800 people. We can't do this without your help, and that's where the consumer becomes so critical in this whole aspect, is that we need you to get the rest of the 800 people, being the vendors and juice makers, on board with Vipassana and actually demand it, like across Iava, on the other when it was all about the ISO laboratories that people questioned, is your juice made in an ISO laboratory? And everybody jumped on board, and that's not a problem, we'll do that, no questions asked. It's the same scenario here. It's because they are, and us as a community who belong to them, are fighting the fight so that you can keep up doing what you enjoy doing and not smoke. The consumer is as important, if not more important, than what we are in the whole bigger picture. So ask your local juice maker, ask your local vendor, is he a member? If he's not, put him under some pressure to do that. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's going to help you, and it definitely helps us.
Definitely. I 100% agree.
Cool. Let's check if there's any questions here. Oh, Kurt says there's 450,000 plus minus. Uncle Rob said he was fighting a snake earlier. That's why he got you late. What snake was it, Rob? He bought himself this fancy Khure Majuki thingy that hooks a snake. Because Baby Chew, every now and again, brings in a snake. So he has to go and catch the snake and take it out and put it in the valley. Consumer voices are vital in driving the narrative that is true. Let me put up the competition again so that you guys can see that. Don't forget, you need to go onto the Wiener Vape Company's Facebook page and do the competition. Not on my page, not on the survey page, on the Wiener Vape Company's page. This picture will be up on their page after the show, and then just follow the rules underneath the picture, and everything will be hunky-dory. And also, don't forget, if you see the scrolling banner that's at the top, I've got 10 arbiters at 25% off, but there's only 10 of them. If you want to buy one, you can get 25% off. It was huge. Rob says it was huge. But it was spotted house snake, harmless, but we only found that out later. Lillian asked, when are you bringing back East?
Well, remember when we were talking about bulking issues? That was the juice in question. East is the juice that caused that big headache. But check out Big in Japan, because it is heavily inspired and based off of East. So Big in Japan might just be what you're looking for.
Okay. Shabir says, so it's bulk milk, vanilla, and samosa flavor. So I think probably that's the ideal opportunity to actually, if you want to, you can say no, and we'll carry on with the questions. But do you want to come clean and tell everybody what it is, or do you want me to ask you questions?
Well, I'd like people to experience it and see what they think it is. I think they might be underwhelmed. Fans of our brand that have vaped some of our older juices might recognize the profile. We've updated it, like you say. Now people vape at higher wattages. Some of the older juices just don't translate into that, and I think there's a bit of a clue on the side of the bottle that will give you an idea of the profile once you have it in your hands. And if you look at the color scheme, you can pretty much guess it's not samosa flavor. it's a pink and red theme. And bulk milk is a very rich, nice mouthful of milkshake, whatever how you want to experience it. It's not straightforward though. It doesn't have any like hidden profiles like cinnamon or anything like that. There's nothing super secret about it, but it is just, it's just awesome. I don't know how else to explain it. I decided to launch a vanilla flavor because I liked it. I like the way it vapes. We get good feedback from it, so I'm hoping people will enjoy it. Some of the samples that have gone out, people have been giving really good feedback. So it's not actual bulk milk, obviously. So don't let the name scare you off too much. Give it a bash. I think you should ask another question. I don't like shameless plugging.
Okay. What are the best resources that have helped you along the way?
As a mixer, I would definitely say e-cigs. When I just started vaping and when I just started mixing, the e-cigs forum was a great place to talk about mixing, to catch some tips, and just learn about vaping and mixing. A lot in the early days, even on e-cigs in the early days, back 2012, 2013, when I started mixing, there wasn't really any resources. There was, some very small little communities in the UK where you could get some information. A lot of the early days, you had to basically just freaking get the flavoring, mix a single, and vape it to see what it does. But as time went on, e-cigs was a great resource, and it still is for mixers to learn a thing or two.
It's funny, I still do it that way, you know that. I still get in, when I get in concentrates, I still do my old fashioned 5% in VG, PG, no sweetener, no other additives, whatever. And I work from there. That's still the way I do it now, and I've done that from day one.
If I can give any aspiring new mixer any good advice, it would be take your flavorings, mix it as a single, start with 5%. Mix a 5% 10 ml bottle of the single flavor that you've just bought and taste that before you start mixing with it. That will give you a great idea of how strong the flavor is, what the profile is, how it might mix with other ingredients. And it's just a good way to mentally imprint that flavor into your head to go, this is what this tastes like. So that when you mix with it, you've already got an idea. Because just thinking to yourself, okay, I'm going to mix a pina colada. So you grab a pineapple flavoring and you grab a coconut flavoring, and there you go, you're going to mix a pina colada. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. So if you've got those singles behind you already, then you already know what pineapple to go for or what coconut to go for to get your desired, so you can dial it in much quicker. It's tedious in the beginning mixing like that, but once you've done that, it makes your mixing quicker in the end because you already know what flavorings you want to go for.
It's like all the old school, all the concentrates that I've ever mixed. I've got a mental memory, E.T., although I don't do a lot of mixing anymore, Etienne does the bulk of it. I'll send him a recipe and, I'll be sitting there at fucking 2 o'clock in the morning and I can't sleep. Oh, fuck, or I'll be watching something on TV and somebody's got some dish or a fucking something. And I think, oh, that'd be nice. And I know what concentrates in, what's stuff, and I know, and it's like instinctive, okay, 0.5% of that, 1.2% of that. And it's like, because I've done all that homework all those years ago, and I know what concentrates work with each other to do that. And that's unfortunately something there's no fast way around that. Unless you're just buying one shots and you just, adding VG and PG where someone else has done the work. And that's probably the easiest way, as Gerhard said, 5%, and you just build up a history in a little black book or on your computer, too strong, too little, whatever, and you build up a history like that, and then it makes life a lot easier when you want to mix up a juice. Next question, sir. Who are the three people who have been the most influential in getting you and your brand where it is today?
Number one, my wife.
I don't know how the fuck she
Number
puts
two.
up with you, bro, but anyway, carry on.
Don't know how she does it. Number two would be Damien Milligan. Been there all this time. And number three, I would say probably the boss that asked me to make the choice whether I have to choose between my side hustle or my job.
That's a first I've had that one. That's a good one. That's a very good one.
If he didn't put me in that corner, I would never have gone full time. So
Yeah, that's actually that's actually a freaking really epic one, that, because you've always taken by the bull by the horns, and you've run with it, and you've been successful, highly successful at it. But sometimes you just needed that little bit of an extra nudge to do that, which is epic, absolutely epic. Guys are asking, when I asked, did I miss the release date? When are these juices releasing?
they are launching soon. The vendor samples have gone out.
If anybody is watching here from Survape, these samples are evidently in the shop, or don't touch them because they were sent for me.
So vendor samples are out, and we're planning to launch on wholesale. So on wholesale, it'll go live probably next week sometime. And then shortly after that, I would say it'll be in shops, within a week or two from then, as shops buy. Not everyone works on the same buying schedule or stuff like that. So it'll be available. I think I can for sure say it'll be available before the end of this month.
Cool beans. Cool beans. Okay, here's a fun question. What's the most useless talent that you have?
I can do this.
I can't. My two fingers want to separate. I can't do that. Wait, almost. Yeah. Oh my god. Guys, ask some questions. I'm running out of questions here, and we've still got 15 minutes. Almost 20 minutes. Ask some questions. Let me just check here quickly. Yeah. Okay, so obviously, not only being a juice maker, you also own some vape shops. Let's go through that. You've obviously got where you are in Richards Bay now. Let's go through that, and then we'll go through the ones in the Cape.
Yeah, so Wiener Vape Shop is in Richards Bay. It's also where we distro our juices from. It's from Richards Bay. And then we got Fogger's main branch in Rondebosch in Cape Town, where Damien is big boss in charge. And then we've got our new branch in Faro, which is also a Fogger's brand branch. And we opened there just the other day. So if you're in the area, go check it out, because we've got a huge variety of stock there. A really nice little store, got some restaurants next door. Really, really cool little shop. Very excited for the space. I think some of the guys that have visited there, like Brent and guys from TKO, have visited before. Like they can attest that the shop is, it's a nice spot. It's really nice vibe going on there.
I think that's
Damien there as well. Yeah.
I think that's the one thing that I've spoken about this with almost everybody that's been on the show. So people who are watching, if you would listen to me and get bored, switch off. That's the one thing that I miss. I really, really miss that from the vaping industry. Obviously we've got Corona now that you've got to worry about, so you're a little bit stuck anyway. But I miss that those Friday after work, Saturdays, when it was social. It was that, I really hope that somehow there's an about face Obviously I hope we get rid of a corona first of all, so that people can actually just come and sit and chill again. But also to have that interaction with people, and see what people are vaping on, and just meet new people, because that's people think that I'm a big ugly ogre, but I'm actually quite a lacquer guy when you actually get to meet me and talk to me, and I love listening to people and hearing their vaping journey, and I really hope that sometime when the future comes back, and having an environment that's conducive for that, like restaurants and that's why like it's like having the cafe at the shop, because now we've noticed a little bit more now, and some of the vapors will now come in, and they'll go get their stuff, and then they'll go to the cafe, and then they'll go sit around the corner, and get their stuff, which is nice to see. But those old days, going back 3 years, 2-3 years ago, when it wasn't as mainstream as it is today, where you on a Saturday, like even the Richards Bay guys would pull through to the Survape shop, and would just sit upstairs and just eat pizza and drink cold drinks, or those who drink alcohol would drink alcohol, and have a cloud comp. And those are days that unfortunately the new people who are vaping just will never experience, which and I've made shit tons of friends, and you would have done exactly the same through that, which is epic. I just wish those days would come back. Delaray Stain.
We meet a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Delaray Stain says missed VapeCon. Yeah, I don't think VapeCon will happen this year. I really don't think it'll happen this year, to be honest with you. I know, looking at on the international scene, the Hall of Vape, which is probably the pinnacle of vape shows in the world, was supposed to be in July. I really doubt that that's going to happen in Belgium. But VapeCon was supposed to be, I think, if Rob's still watching, I think August, September, October. I think it's August. I really doubt that that's going to happen. Hopefully it happens next year, because that's also a fun, it's a busy time of the year, but it's also a really fun time of the year where you can get to meet all the customers, and you also obviously get to meet your store owners, and get to socialize and have some fun. Yeah, Kurt says I really miss the hangouts. It was it was epic. I was actually, someone, Baron says, like when Vaping Bogan came down, that was he's an absolute nutter, that guy. Much respect for the guy, but he's an absolute fucking nutter. Love him to bits, and I chat to him almost 3-4 times a week. But he's an absolute nutter, and I can guarantee you that we'll get him out again, because we've become good friends actually since then. But we'll most definitely get him out again if we ever have another VapeCon or something like that. We'll most definitely. We've told him, when we are allowed to do that again, we'll fly him out. So yeah, that'll be epic. Another question for you. Is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't? Anything you want to get off your chest? Anything you need to say? Anything you want to shout at me? You want to scream at me? You want to... Okay, I was going to pull a Jay Hayes comment. You want to throw a rainbow flag onto the screen or something like that?
I think we touched on it already. I knew this question was coming up, and I was saving it for then, but it came up naturally just now, and it's about advocacy. And I know people watching, I'm sorry. I know it's boring. I know nobody wants to hear about it again, but it is vitally important in our journey now. In fact, if it's not too late already, that we start taking advocacy seriously. We need vendors on board, we need consumers on board, we need everybody on board right now, because I guarantee you, the guys that think we'll just go underground, nobody wants to buy underground made liquids. Nobody wants to buy mods and stuff that, imagine just buying secondhand mods for the rest of your life, you know? So yeah, I just want to beat this dead horse and go, please guys, get involved with advocacy. Do the survey. Put pressure on your vendors to join the VPA. Ask questions why they're not members to the VPA. Put pressure on us as vendors to do more for advocacy, because at the end of the day, like you said, 400, 500 stores in South Africa, yes, that's a small percentage of people that are going to lose their jobs. But think of the people who haven't started vaping yet, because that's the biggest deal right now. Before I started vaping, I was a smoker. I smoked 30 a day. I was slowly killing myself. If it wasn't for vaping, I would probably be sick already, or sick in a couple of years. So if you think of, the type of person who thinks we'll just take this underground, it won't affect me, I can DIY my own juice, I'll be fine. Don't be selfish. Think of the guys who haven't stopped smoking yet. Think of the guys who haven't tried vaping yet. Because when these regulations come, it will be super, super, super difficult for anyone to try vaping. It won't almost not be an option. So think about those guys.
What you said there now, I was watching Jay Hayes' thing last night because I was battling to sleep, and he was doing one of his live things, and that exactly part of what you said there now. A guy said, well, it's not a problem. I bought enough concentrates, and I bought enough nicotine, and I bought enough VG and PG to last me forever, and I've got it in the freezer. And Jay lost it. He absolutely lost it. And he said, that's the wrong mentality to have. What about all those people that are not going to be able to do what you do?
Exactly.
So you're being selfish, you've got the means to do that. But what about all those thousands, tens of thousands, millions of people that don't have that ability to do that? And all those people who might want to quit and now can't because you were selfish. You didn't take the 2 minutes out of your day or 3 minutes out of your day to actually just go and answer 20 questions. When a vape shop or a juice maker sends a mailer out, please would you mind helping us, assisting us to, we're busy fighting government, please can you take the time just to answer these questions. 3 minutes out, 5 minutes out of your day, even if it was an hour out of your day. At the end of the day, it's protecting your right to do what you enjoy doing, as well as protects the right and helps the people who haven't yet found what vaping is about. So
you could quite literally be saving someone's life.
Yeah, 100%.
By answering a survey, by answering 20 questions, you could be saving someone's life. I know it sounds silly, but it's true.
But that's just how simple it actually is. That's how simple it is. You could actually be saving someone's life. That's how simple it actually is. But unfortunately, and I watch it, and people are going to take what I'm about to say the wrong way. I watch shows where there's advocacy involved, and I always, it's not that I'm wanting a massive audience, but I always watch an audience count. And as soon as advocacy comes on, the audience count drops. Because people put their head in the sand and they think, I'll worry about that. And that's exactly what happened to America. Exactly what happened to 100%. America is everybody just buried their head in the sand. We will do the work for you. All we ask, and we'll make it easy enough for you to do. All we ask is when we ask you to do something, just do it. That's as simple, probably as easy as it is. Because at the end of the day, it's our livelihood. It's a habit for you, but it's our livelihoods. So we don't mind doing the work. We just need you, when we ask you to take 10 minutes out of your day, take 10 minutes out of your day to help us. That's all. Finally, last question, and then we're almost ready to wrap up. Obviously, you've got all the social media handles, and where's the best place for people to communicate with you guys? On Facebook, Instagram, email?
All of the above. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we are on WhatsApp, we're on Telegram. You can email us, you can snail mail us if you want to. If you want to get into contact, there's many ways. You can just Google us. Google either Foggers or Wiener Vape Co. and all the links will be there on how to get in contact with us.
And why aren't you on TikTok?
Because I'm a grown-ass man.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Ryan, you will find the survey in one of the questions, but I'm sure Kurt will post it again for you. Kurt says 9 million smokers in South Africa, 45,000 die from smoking-related diseases every single solitary year, which is quite scary. Quite scary. Also, shops have no excuses not to join. I just want to clarify that we need it's Vipassana. It's not VPA. It's Vipassana. Okay.
Sorry, I'm so old school. I remember them as the VPA.
Yeah, it's Vipassana. Okay. That's the full name of it. Okay. And if you've got a shop that's your local shop who wants information, PM me. I can send them the information. Kurt Yeo has got Vaping Save My Life channel. They can contact him. You can contact Gerhard. I'm going to talk for him. We will send them all the information that they need, where they can do, what they need to do, and they don't need to be, doesn't need to cost them a fortune. It's just, we need numbers, and numbers is the most important thing at the end of the day. This is Martin Slubber. Fucking, you came out of the fucking woodwork, but Craig says TikTok is your thing. No, it's not. I've done 4 videos and I think I got like 10 likes. It just doesn't, I can't comprehend. I watch it every now and again. I think, you fucking stupid prick, why the fuck are you doing that shit? But anyway, guys, I'm going to call that a quits. I'm just going to put up the competition one more time so that you can see it. Don't forget, you must go to the Wiener Vape Company's page. This picture will be up there straight after the show. Give us 10 minutes after the show. Read the picture. It'll tell you how to win the juices. And we'll be back next Sunday. I will not be on, but I might do a show during the week. It's my wife's birthday and I will be away. So I will not be doing a show next week, but I'll try and do a show maybe during the course of the week. And I will have some goodies to do down lows with, because I haven't done a down low with for a while, and I've got some exciting goodies coming in which I can now show you. So thank you very much for watching. Gerhard, thank you very much for being on the show. See, it wasn't that bad. I didn't ask you anything that was out of your comfort zone. Thank you very much for being on the show. I do appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity, and thanks for hosting a great show.
Always a pleasure, but always a pleasure. Thanks again, guys, for watching, and we will see you when we see you. Cheerio.